in Western Visayas in the Philippines. I'm having my morning cup of green tea in my Boss Rooster cup right there. Boss Rooster cup. Got my Dazzle TV logo right there, courtesy of my good friend Alan in Texas. I decided to go ahead and go online. I see a few people online already waiting. And one thing, me man, one thing I do not, enjoy, understand is waiting. Sometimes here in the Philippines, I have gotten used to waiting on people because I am always early at any appointment, any party, anything like that. If you invite me and tell me party is at 7 p.m., chances are I'm there before 7 p.m. That's just my military background. I'm always early. I don't think I'll ever be able to change that habit. All right, I'm looking at the comments here. Make sure. Hey, there's Belus. There's Belus. All right. All right, let me read through this real quick. Good morning there. Good morning. Yeah, Iloilo, great place. Walkable. Waiting off day. All right, all right. I know you've been busy. You've been busy at the vanilla farm, Belus. I've been seeing you at the farm, which is awesome. But I know a day off would be a day off from that would be also good. Good morning, bro. Good morning, Michael C, my good friend, my brother in Tagaytay, now living in a condominium in Tagaytay. All right. My topic today, I got this topic because I got a comment. I'll read you the comment so you'll understand why. Good suggestion. I'm always up for suggestion from people. Terry in the Islands. This was his comment. As always, interesting video. Just a suggestion for a video. What to expect in your first 30 days in the Philippines. What is, for the lack of a better word, the weirdness that will make you shaking my head? That's kind of like his. And for me, what I did is I messaged my friends. That most of them I helped move here to the Philippines. And I message them. I tell them, hey, can you tell me something about your first 30 days here in the Philippines, good or bad? I wanted, don't just tell me the good stuff. Tell me like the good, the bad, the ugly. That way I can share it. And that's what I'm going to do on this live stream. I got many responses from my friends and truly appreciate it. I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure they'll recognize it, once I start discussing it. I got several first 30 days in the Philippines. What is it like when you come here to the Philippines for the first 30 days? Of course, I'm going to start with my own experience. Let me I had done my notes here. I see it. All right. I got to alphabetize it here. Okay, let me go through the comments. I do not want to get too behind on the comments here. Hello, my brother Gino. Hey, God bless, Raymond. Peanut Butter Travels here. I just got back from vacation, 20 days. Pangasinan, all right. I bet that was awesome, man. I've been to Pangasinan. I know that area really well. I've been to 100 Islands, Dagupan, even La Union. I've traveled that area. I was stationed at Clark Air Base in the late 80s, and then I was able to go back there again in 2022. Great place, great area. And today's in Japan. Oh, Japan did 10 days in Japan too. Wow, I'm jealous, man. I haven't been back to Japan since I left Japan in 2003. So now I left Japan. I can't wait to get back to Japan. Fortune, good AM, Gino fam, my brother in Bacoor in Cavite. Alberto Sanchez, I arrived to Davao, May 17. Definitely not in Texas. You're not in Texas anymore, man. You're now in Davao. All right. But loving my choice. I love to hear that. I love hearing that. And most people, when they land here, the excitement, it's both nervousness and excitement, of course. Moving to the Philippines, retiring in the Philippines, that is like a giant leap of faith. people talk about it, but until you do it, man, there's a lot of question marks whether you're gonna like the place. You're leaving behind your life in America for most of us, and when you're leaving that, you're leaving family, you're leaving friends, and you really have to have a adventurous type of spirit to be able to go through moving to another country and starting a new life. Good AM, Derek Beluz from Fortune. Michael, good morning, Fortune. Raymond, Negros Oriental are saying very hard rain there this morning. Yes, raining here, not hard rain, but it's wet this morning. Dropped Leanna when I dropped her at school. She had an umbrella with her. Joe Cano, all right. Good morning, Joe Cano. Fortune. Yes, Typhoon Francisco, the number six typhoon. Fortune. It's in the Philippine area of responsibility. It's way up north of Luzon, about 300 kilometers outside of Cagayan, and then it's gonna hit even farther north. So we're getting rain from it. We're getting rain from the typhoon, but not bad here in the Visayas region. This is more probably the rain that your friend in Bacolod is getting. It's more from the monsoon rains than Typhoon Francisco, the number six typhoon. And today, actually, here in our area, Calibo, is Fiesta Day here. It's the feast of Saint John the Baptist. They got all kinds of activities in Calibo today. As actually started yesterday. The mayor had opening ceremony at the Pastrana Park in Calibo yesterday afternoon. Today they got boat races. They got all kinds of things happening at the beach esplanade, the Pook area today. A holiday for Calibo people. Calibo, no government employees, students, no school today. Liana was jealous because Liana goes here to Numancia and they had school today. But Calibo, they're celebrating a fiesta today in Calibo. It's a thing here in the Philippines during St. John the Baptist. People douse each other with water guns. That's that kind of fun event. But with the rain, everybody's going to be wet anyway. So, but it's still a lot of fun. Right, the fiesta traffic was light today because Manila, San Juan cities are on holiday. Yes, Calibo's on holiday today, man. The mayor of Calibo declared a holiday in Calibo. And yes, get every night around 9 p.m., but I'm good. Yeah, I mean, it's like, especially if you live, like here in a gated community, we have like a curfew for karaoke. 10 p.m. and no more karaoke at past 10 p.m. But if you're living outside a gated community, good luck. Good luck with that. People sometimes sing karaoke till early in the morning. Wata. Yes, Wata Festival. All right. Like Songkran of Thailand. Yeah, I've seen that also in Thailand. All right, I'm gonna talk about my first 30 days here in the Philippines. This was back in 2011. I moved from Tucson, Arizona, and I decided my soft landing in the Philippines was going to be Boracay Island. I've been to Boracay Island several times before 2011 when I finally retired, but I did not know a single person in Boracay when I landed. But for me, that's not a big deal. During my military career, 20 years active duty in the military, I moved 7 times. And when you move 7 times in 20 years, moving actually is fun. I looked forward to moving every time I went to a new assignment. When I lived in South Korea, when I lived in Japan, when I got stationed at Clark Air Base in Texas, Louisiana, I enjoyed it every time because it's a new adventure for me. I love it when I have to land in a place and I don't know anything about the place. I might have back then, back when we were moving, we didn't have all this internet stuff, all this YouTube and all that. So a lot of it was a surprise when you moved. Same thing in 2011. YouTube wasn't that big. There weren't many vloggers here in the Philippines. it was an adventure for me landing in Boracay Island. But it wasn't hard because like the minute I landed in Boracay Island, I would say not even 1 week, I already met so many friends. And my way of like gaining friends when I landed in Boracay Island, I was a cyclist in the United States. I rode bicycles, mountain bikes constantly. Like that was my passion when I was living in Tucson, Arizona. So the first thing I did when I got to Boracay Island was buy a mountain bike. Cost me $300. It was an aluminum mountain bike, really nice mountain bike for Philippine standards. Paid $300 for it. It was used. It was owned by an expat, so it kind of fit me. I'm 5'10". I'm taller than most Filipinos, so it's hard to get like a bicycle here that's my size. A lot of times the bikes are smaller here, so that's one thing to consider. If you're tall, if you're big, if you're thinking of getting up, it's easier now. Of course, there's more availability. You can order from Amazon, order from Lazada. But during that time, when I landed in Boracay, I don't think there was even a bicycle shop, just a repair shop, but not many places in Boracay selling bicycles. I just lucked up that I met an expat and he was selling his bicycle in Boracay. And that was another thing that I was going to mention that's kind of nice about Boracay is there's a good expat community here in Boracay, especially now. It's even grown. It's even grown to like when I landed there in 2011. A lot of them are friends of mine in Boracay. So it was just a good experience. Once I got my mountain bike, it wasn't hard because I met the locals there, I met the expats there, and they would ride. We had a common thing that we enjoyed. We would ride. In Boracay, there were so many trails that we did in Boracay. And then when we ran out of trails there, I've done most of the trails in Boracay, I went to the mainland. We would like put our mountain bikes on those outrigger boats and travel, went to mainland Aklan, went to Buruanga, Antique, just rode our mountain bikes all over the place. And to me, that was like, I was in heaven because that's what I enjoyed the most was riding bicycles at the time. Okay, now I'm gonna share to you now like I guess the I wouldn't say bad experience, but wasn't pleasant. I was in Boracay, not even, I would say, it was in my first month in Boracay, and I started like suffering from like stomach cramps. I've never had that before. It's like I've always been fit all my life. Never spent a day in the hospital. But I was aware coming to Boracay, I was very careful about not drinking the water. I was always buying bottled water, but still, I started getting stomach cramps, and it was pretty severe. It wasn't like a stomach cramp to where I injured myself. I know that kind of pain. This was just like sharp pain in my stomach. So I was like, man, I gotta go to the hospital, and during that time in 2011, I did not realize this, and that's part of the reason my learning curve here in the Philippines. And I tell people now how important it is before you come here, research the place, make sure you got like medical available in that area. I did not do that when I went to Boracay 15 years ago. So there was really no hospital back then in 2011. There is now Tirol Hospital. They built, they're actually remodeling it right now. But during that time, there really wasn't no emergency room in Boracay, which surprised me because I'm thinking, man, Boracay is a resort, vacation place. 2011, very limited as far as medical support. Luckily, I found a clinic. On the main road by Ambulong area. They ran some blood work on me, and they told me I needed to go to take antibiotics for 14 days. And it helped. I took the antibiotics, got rid of my stomach cramps. But had I needed, like let's say it was my appendicitis or some appendix, and I had needed to get my appendix taken out, They could not have done it in Boracay Island. I would have had to get on a boat in Boracay, go to mainland Aklan, and then from mainland Aklan, come here to Calibo. And even Calibo back then, we didn't have Asia Pacific. Asia Pacific Medical Center only opened 2 years ago. So, who knows who would be cutting me up in Calibo. That's why I say, very important for you to do your research as far as medical. Because, at the time I was 45 years old. I was fit. I was like, I didn't think, you don't worry about medical at that, it's like I said, like I was riding bikes, I was running, I was swimming, I was like the best shape of my life. But still, you got to be aware of that because, it's easy to get food poisoning here in the Philippines. It could be anything that I ate or drank or whatever. It could have been the ice, but that was my kind of like welcome to the Philippines. That woke me up here in the Philippines after it's like I was just in so much, the cramps. I was in so much pain. I said, "Dang," I was worried in my head, man. They might have to cut me up. They might have to go to the hospital, But that's why now I push people before they come select their area. Make sure you get good medical care. All right, let me just look at my notes here. Make sure. But for me, it was an easy transition. One thing I wanted to share was I'm military, so I'm used to like a routine. And that is what I loved about Boracay Island. I was living off when I lived in Boracay Island. My biggest expense in Boracay at the time was my rent, 10,000 pesos at the time. But for me, easily, I was living between $800 to $900 back in 2011 in Boracay Island. And I was living the life, man. I was just like, it felt like paradise to me. I was living, it was like living the dream for me. Like I said, I like routines. All I ate in the morning, oatmeal. Quaker oats was my go-to meal in Boracay. And I would buy local fruits, mangoes, bananas, whatever I can get, and I would put it on my oatmeal. Pandesal was a go-to for me, like the pandesal bread. So that was my breakfast. And then my lunch, usually there was a Micaela Carinderia right on the beach in Boracay, in Station 3. It's a small mom and pop carinderia shop. You just get your ulam, you get your like vegetable dish, meat dish, and rice. Cost me like 80 pesos at the time, $1.50 for lunch. And that was it. That was my lunch. In the morning, I would ride my bike. I would run on White Beach. I would run 5 kilometers on White Beach. I was like, after my run, a lot of times I was running in just my board shorts, no top, my sneakers. I take out my sneakers. I swim after my run. It was just like, for me, to me, that was like the life. I really enjoyed my 18 months. And for dinner, I would just make sandwiches, And then sometimes, at the time they had Andox fast food there in Boracay, Mang Inasal. I don't remember having Jollibee, but Mang Inasal and Andox was like my go-to meals. And then after lunch, I would take a nap. That was my thing. I would take a nap. I wake up because it's hot during the day in Boracay, 1 to 4. You don't really want to be outside in Boracay at that time, but sunset comes up right before sunset. I would go to the beach. I would play volleyball. I would play ultimate frisbee on the beach. Just swim on the beach, and then of course have my beer. I was still drinking at the time. Have my draft beer, watching the sunset. That was my life in Boracay for 18 months. Best time of some of the best time of my life, definitely. All right, now I'm gonna go through some of the things that my friends shared with me here. All right, I don't want to get too behind on the comments because the comments they go pretty fast. They go pretty fast here, but I appreciate the comments for sure. JP, good morning. Gino and the posse. JP Calibo, Fortune. All right. Zoe, how's your day? I'm doing good, Zoe. I'm doing good. Stone Cold. Good morning, Gino. Panay. All right, thank you, Stone Cold. Appreciate that. JP. Hello, Fortune. Michael C. Merle, good morning, Kuya Gino, Boracay. Merle, right there. Merle's in Boracay Island. He's been there now over a month in Boracay. And he is having the best time of his life. He's meeting so many locals. He's already been invited to a fiesta, invited by the locals there. He is embracing the life in Boracay. So happy for Merle. Good AM, Stone, Fortune. Don't drink. Yep, don't drink tap water. I did that. I never drank. I was even brushing my teeth with bottled water. I thought I was so careful, but it still hit me, man. And it was like, man, the worst feeling in the world. Yeah, a lot of times restaurants here in the Philippines, be careful with that. Thank you, Fortune, for saying that. They will, when you ask for service water, when they have bottled water which you pay an amount, 15 pesos, 20 pesos for a bottled water. But for me, I'm used to the water here. So when I order like service water, I am assuming that that water is the same water that I'm drinking. That I pay the 5-gallon containers here in the Philippines, right? There are some restaurants here that will serve you tap water. A friend of mine in New Washington, got really mad because he found that out at one of the restaurants in New Washington that they served him tap water. So be careful. Don't, to me, like Fortune saying, bottled water. Stick with, pay the money for bottled water. All right. Be careful with distilled. Correct. Jukanu. So, did you meet any toxic narcissist expats in the first? No, Stone Cold, I did because the group that I embraced in Boracay, I was, like I said, I was a cyclist. We were mostly mountain bikers. We love mountain bike. And when you share a common, I met a guy from England. Met American and Canadian, and we would ride together. We all we talked about was riding bikes. That was the conversation, or our next ride. We were always in the hunt for the next ride. All the toxic stuff. And back then, Stone Cold, back in 2011, even the U.S. when I left, is not the same toxic environment that it is now. It wasn't that. I didn't even hear when I left United States in 2011. I did not know terms. I've never heard of terms like woke, that identify. I never heard of any of those. Those were still not available, not available when I lived in Tucson, Arizona. Thank goodness I left America at the right time. That's a great 18 months, Gino. Yes. I was single, Fortune. I was single, and could not commit to any woman in Boracay. I think that was the thing that made my, I really wanted to enjoy Boracay. I really wanted to enjoy the single life at the time, and I wasn't in any committed relationship back then. Alberto, thanks Gino for all the information. Definitely spot on. Listen to him. All right, thank you, Alberto. Young Fresh, all right. I am here in Los Cerritos Mall. Hey, I've been there. I've been to Cerritos Mall in California, man. I lived in Long Beach, California. Cerritos, Lakewood, all that area. I'm familiar. Bellflower, man. I'm familiar with all that area. There are a lot of a lot of Filipinos there back in the 80s. So I can imagine now how many Filipinos are there, man. Long Beach. All right, 2 weeks, Long Beach, man. Graduate of Long Beach Wilson High, class of 83. Go Bruins, go Bruins. I love it here, Cali. All right, you used to, that you're in my neck of the woods, man. You're staying in Long Beach. That's my neck of the woods, brother. I lived there 1978 and then I left there when I joined the military in 1984. 6 years. My first 6 years in America was in Southern California. All the beta red pill. Yeah, I hear that comment all the time, Stone Cold. I'm not familiar. I have watched The Matrix. I never really understood that pill thing, man. I just enjoyed the movie. Man. Is skirting north of Luzon. Yes, correct. Typhoon Francisco. Yeah, we're getting rain now, man. I'm loving the sound of the rain, though, man. I love the sound of the rain. Young Fresh, Alberto. I got my first visa extension and preparing as a second month to month. Okay, your second renewal on the tourist visa is going to be good for 2 months. The first renewal is 1 month. After that is every 2 months. Is your tour. The only immigration office that gives out 6 months now is the main office in Manila. If you're in that area, you can get a 6 month extension. But the first month is 1 month extension. After that is 2 months. 2 month extensions on the tourist visa, and you can renew that visa for like 3 years before you have to depart the Philippines. You on your 60 days. 60 days, correct. All right. Gerald Cooper, morning Colorado, lifelong gut issues. Oh wow. Sorry to hear that, my friend. Found by endoscopy. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You got to be careful here in the Philippines too, man. It's like that's why maybe cook your own food or cook it thoroughly. Be careful when you're eating street food, especially. I've even heard about like with street food, there's like a bacteria resistant. I'm leaving alone all the street food, man. I'm not eating street food for the rest of my life because I cannot take a chance at no parasite living inside me. Hit the people, be a good posse member. All right, JB Kalibo, Derek. Several bloggers have tourist visa. Man, I've known people here. I got an expat here in my community, been here in the Philippines 8 years, man, and he's on the tourist visa. He has no plans of getting, because like I've been saying, the tourist visa basically is you pay every month, or that year. It averages out to like $600 a year, so pretty much $50 a month. It's like, man, in the U.S., $50 a month, you spend that on a meal. You spend that on a date, not even enough on a date. So a lot of people said they don't want to hassle of going through the process and all that with SRV, or some don't want to marry a Filipina. Some like staying single. I ain't mad at them. So a lot of them just stay. Just keep renewing. It's an easy process. People make it sound like it's a difficult process. Here in Kalibo, 10-15 minutes in and out of there, sometimes even quicker. You can ask JP Kalibo how long it took him to renew his tourist visa. It's basically you go in there, you pay the money, they give you the receipts, and you're good. Nothing to it at all. All right, I'm gonna start going through the comments here with my friends, the things that they shared with me, I'm gonna go random, just like I got so many of them. I'm just gonna start hitting them here. Like I said, I'm not gonna mention names or anything. First one, it says the SRRV visa worked out great for him. It's like he loved it because he can stay here forever on an SRV visa, and you don't get, you don't have the requirement of getting married to stay here, on the 13A visa. So that was one of the good is and then another good was people were super friendly and helpful with anything that he needed. And that you'll see how that comment is kind of common with the replies that I got. The bad is a lot of things here in the Philippines. Kind of like he's got a military background like me. Hurry up and wait. That is very common here in the Philippines when you're going through government agencies, any activity. Hurry, get there, and then you end up waiting. Or you go to like renew your driver's license or anything. Government agency, even a bank, you'll sit there sometimes for an hour, 2 hours, and you're wondering like, what the heck's going on? Are they gonna help me? But that's just the way it is, a lot of waiting here. You need to bring a lot of patience here. But again, the thing that he really liked is people are very helpful. People are like really anxious to help you a lot of times. Okay, let me do this one. For this, the next reply I got was the driving really out of control. It's like when my friend first started driving here in the Philippines. He's heard about it, of course, like the driving in the Philippines, but until you're in it, and my friend here, he's not even driving in Manila. He hasn't even, he's driven here in Panay Island. He's driven in Iloilo, Panay Island, Calibo, and I'm just thinking, man, wait till you drive in Manila or Cebu City. That's a whole nother level of craziness driving in that area. But one thing that he says was after a while, after driving here, and he's only been here less than a year, after driving here, you start getting into the flow of people. You actually realize that people are kind of actually, you always hear expats bash Filipino drivers that they're not, they're just like worst driver in the world. But you actually get a rhythm here. You will see friendly drivers here. They're not all crazy drivers because I know, it's like I'm a friendly driver. When I get to intersection, I'm always looking at go ahead, I'm waiting, go ahead. But I also get that, if I'm signaling a left, a lot of four-way intersections here in the Philippines do not have any traffic lights. So it's kind of like you get into the intersection. It doesn't work the same in the US where the right of way, the person on the right has the right of way. There is no such thing in the Philippines as a right of way on the road. On the rule book, maybe they'll say there's a right of way in the rule book, but out in the streets when you're driving here in the Philippines, there are no rules. You basically kind of eye each other like, hey, And one thing you learn, like when I'm driving, if I do one of this, like I head, like I do my head, that means go ahead. That means go ahead. And then if somebody lets me through, I do this. I do my head down. That means I'm appreciating that There's just a rhythm to driving here. Not all drivers here are mean. But again, my friend also says when he gets to the intersection, he has to be extra careful because it's like, is this going to be a mean guy or is this going to be a nice guy? So that kind of thing. So he's learned to adjust to the driving here. And now it's not even an issue for him. He enjoys driving here now. But that's one big thing that you'll experience here is the driving that, you can watch videos, you can hear about it on Facebook groups, but until you do it, until you drive here, and if you've never driven in another country, like at least for me, I've driven in South Korea, I've driven in Japan, another country. In Japan, they drove on the other side, the steering wheel's on the other side. If you haven't done that, if all your driving you've done was in America, it's going to be a wake-up call for you to drive here. Just be very careful and you'll be fine. Just don't be aggressive. Don't fight aggression with aggression. If you see aggressive drivers trying to cut you off or beat you to the spot, don't try to beat them to the spot. Just let them. You're retired now. You're supposed to not be stressed, but that's the biggest thing that a lot of expats complain here. They get stressed with the driving here. Another friend of mine, he was so stressed about the driving here, he sent his wife to driving school. Now his wife drives him. He doesn't even drive. So that's the solution. If you got a spouse or a girlfriend, send your girlfriend or spouse to a driving school and let them do the driving for you. And then now, the second thing my friend says here was getting things here. Some items are close to impossible. Like he's saying here, mustard and sour cream. Although mustard, I have seen the McCormick mustard here once in a while. Not consistent though in Calibo. But sour cream, I've never seen sour cream here in Calibo. So if you're looking for sour cream, you're out of luck. It doesn't exist here. It doesn't exist here. You might have to make your own sour cream. There's YouTube videos on how to make sour cream. All right, let me catch up here with the comments. I don't want to get too behind. $50 a month, bro, is a haircut in Chicago. It's a haircut in Chicago. I know, right? I am going Asia Pacific tomorrow. All right, JP, I brought 6 months of medication with me It's time to get my prescription renewed. Okay, and that was one of the comments. That was gonna come a comment from JP. I haven't read it, but if you got medications, if you can bring 6 months of medications, definitely advise doing that. And now JP, he's getting to his 6 month point here in the Philippines, so he's running out of medication. So now but still easy process for JP. All he has to do, go over to Asia Pacific Medical Center, go to like the information desk, and the person at the desk will tell you which doctors are working that day, which specialists, gastroenterologists, endocrinologists, urologists, all the specialists that are working at Asia Pacific, and what time their clinic's going to be. You don't need, there's no setting up an appointment here. It doesn't work like that here in the province. You basically show up, you find out what doctor's working that day, and then you go to that clinic. If that doctor is supposed to do clinic at 10 to 2, you go to that clinic, you put your name on the list, and you wait. You wait for your name to get called, but you will be seen on the same day. And then the doctor will prescribe you medications, and then you can get your prescriptions at Mercury Drug. I used to ride bike around Oahu. Now I just walk. Yeah, I mean, walking to me, it's like fun, man. I'm planning for first visit March, April, but been told April heat is unbearable for old Whitey. Definitely, man. Summer here in the Philippines, March, April, May, it is a different kind of heat here. And I think one of my friends had even mentioned that there is nothing that will prepare you for the heat in the Philippines. Most people, they've experienced heat in the desert. I lived in Arizona. I've lived in Texas where it was humid. Same thing. I lived in Louisiana. The heat here in the Philippines just hits different. The humidity, the heat, you're gonna be sweating here unless you're in air-conditioned building 24/7 in your car or in a building. If you're outside, inside, no AC, you're gonna be sweating here. March, April, and May. That is like the summer season here. You will get used to the heat. I don't know about that there. You'll get used to the heat. But man, I've been here 15 years and I'm still sweating. It's like, I don't think especially if the power goes out there, during the summer months and the power goes out, man, that's when we hit the mall. That's when the minute the power goes out and it's like middle of the day here during the summer, we're going to the mall, because they got a generator at Grand Gaisano, and we'll spend the whole day just sitting there, food court, whatever we got to do to stay in an air-conditioned building. Young Fresh. Philippines, they say, in a while, sir. In a while, yep. Wait, in a while, right? In a while. It's like that in a while could be 1, 2, 3 hours sometimes there. And then, of course, after 1 hour, you're going, man, did they forget me or something? So you come up, yeah? You get up and it's like, excuse me, you got me on the list, right? Or, yeah, I'm still here. Oh, yes, in a while, sir. Just repeat what they said before. I had experience driving in Mexico, very similar. So, oh, yeah, see, you're good. Alberto, that's what I'll mention. Oh, man, it's coming down hard now. I can see, the rain's coming down hard. I got my internet hooked up to my Blue Yeti because that is another thing here in the Philippines. When it starts raining, the internet goes out. I do not understand that. So if I lose you guys, you know why. It's not the electricity because I have my power station. It's the internet just goes randomly, shuts down here when it's raining hard. I was trying to explain to my girl in Antique that you take a ferry, bring your car, go to Iloilo, but she said she didn't know you can take your car to Iloilo in a ferry. But I tell her wrong. No, you didn't tell her wrong. I've taken the ferry. There's two kinds of ferry. Oh man, it's pouring now. Man, it's like coming down hard now, man. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Let me get closer here. When you go to Iloilo, there are two areas where you catch the ferry going to Bacolod. The one that's near Iloilo City, the fast craft, where you can't put your vehicle on the fast craft. It only takes passengers from Mandurriao area, that kind of like the bubble, like the BGC of Iloilo. About 15-20 minute by taxi. They will take you to the port, and you get on the fast craft. 2 hours, and you're in Bacolod City. That's one of them. The other one, it's not in Iloilo City. It's in Dumangas, Iloilo. I would say about 30 to 40 minutes away from Iloilo City. That is where you can take your car on the roll on, roll off. I have done that. I've done that a couple of times. When you ride the Ro-Ro, you can make sure you got your ORCR of your vehicle. Coast Guard will inspect your vehicle. And there's a waiting list. There's really no online reservation. That does not exist here. You just have to show at the port, and there's a guy in a clipboard, and he's calling names. He'll point at you, get on that boat, get on that, kind of like the thing. So maybe you slip him some, cash. I don't know. You didn't hear it from me. If you want to get on board the ferry quicker, but roll on, roll off with your vehicle. It's in Dumangas, Iloilo. Takes 4 hours. Slower because they got buses in there, trucks and cars on a boat, on a ferry going to Bacolod. About 4.5 hours on the ferry. Good AM. All right, Renz. Agreed. Do not drive, right? If you really, and that's the thing. You don't have to drive in the Philippines. You don't even have to get a motorbike here because public transportation is good here. It's like even here in Calibo, tricycles will take you everywhere for like 15 pesos, about 25 US cents. They'll take you anywhere in Calibo. We don't have that Grab taxi. That was another comment from one of my friends that surprised him. But Calibo's not a city. Calibo's basically a bigger town. That's why it doesn't have the things available in the cities. Big mall supermarket. Yeah, in Calibo, sometimes I do see McCormick, the plastic McCormick mustard, not all the time. We have two big groceries here in Calibo, basically SM Cherry and Save More. We don't have the big mall supermarket here. We don't have a big mall. Even Grand Gaisano, I don't consider it a big mall because it's only 4 stories high, and it's like a department store with a grocery in the bottom. We don't have SM Mall here, and we don't have Robinson Mall here. Haircut now costs between 80 to 100 depending barbershop location. Cheaper marketplace, Mercado. Agree. You can create your own sour cream. Yep. Derek, that was what I thought. As I will be coming from Australia, summer, low humidity, and ends in February. Yeah, man, the summer months here, for people that's never experienced summer months here, stone cold, it is hot. It is hot, man. It's a different kind of hot. Heat is now bearable. Rainy right now is perfect, because when it rains like this, it cools things off. It's the sun here in the Philippines is just intense. Now I wear hats all the time. I carry an umbrella when I'm outside because you will get sunburn here easily. Yeah, I use all kinds of sunscreen. Texas born and raised. I make it only electric fans. I don't even want an AC. All right, see? That's the way to adapt to it, right, Alberto? If you're like me, I got an electric fan here. I don't have an AC on the first floor here. I'm used to it. That's the way how I acclimate to the heat. Because if you're always in the AC and then when you walk outside, that makes it even hotter for you because it's like for me, room temperature when I go outside in the heat, it's not as bad. Hey, Lawrence! There's my friend Lawrence. Good morning from Parañaque. I started carrying an umbrella after moving to the Philippines. Protection from the rain and sun. Yes, 100%. I always carry an umbrella now. part of it too, because I have to protect from cancer. But I always a hat, umbrella, sunscreen. That's my routine now. That's what I'm preparing over brownouts. You're setting yourself up, for success, Alberto. You're getting ready for the power outage, and it happens here. Actually, power outages here in the Philippines happens more during the summer months. So if you thought, well, at least I have AC, during the summer months. Electricity shortage and electricity always seem to happen here in the Philippines during the summer months because everybody's using their AC. My LDR is busy December, January, February. Maybe she has other guys. Oh no, I think she has a good exam. Nice. Real estate. All right. Budget for solar. See, I hear that all the time, budget for solar installation, but solar is not popular in the You would think it would be popular, right? But the Filipinos, there's a stigma with solar here in the Philippines. I know it's a low percentage of solar panels ended up burning and then burning your house, but that's the stigma that solar panels have here in the Philippines. People are worried to put a solar panel on top of their roof here because they're afraid that their house will burn down. That's just a stigma. Right, wrong, whatever, but most Filipinos think that way. We have over 300 homes here at Camellia Aklan. The people here in Camellia Aklan, most of them, they got money to afford solar, right? Because they got cars, they got Toyota Rangers, vehicle, they got Rangers, Explorers, they got vehicles here. So I know they can afford getting solar. Zero, and this is a gated community. Nobody here has. Imagine the people outside our gated community. It's just not a popular thing here in the Philippines. Solar. Most of the solar here are owned by expats. Expats are the ones that are getting solar here. Merle, during brownout, I hang out at the beach and at the mall, right? See, Merle is 5-minute walk from his place in Diniwood Beach to the beach. He's also about another 5-10 minutes up to City Mall. So he just walks to the mall or the beach. Good morning, Gino Dazzle and the crew. Expat Live. Salute from Leyte. All right, or the Vanilla Farmer, the Wyoming Cowboy of Leyte. From Pandan, Iloilo City, just car. Pandan to Bacolod with car. Go to Dumangas. Take the Roro. Yes, young friend. Okay, so if we are in Antique, we should drive to Dumangas, then take the ferry to Iloilo, then to SNR. No. You got it wrong there, young fresh. The SNR in Iloilo is in Panay Island. So if you're here in Antique, you're on the same island. You don't have to ride a ferry to go to Iloilo. The only reason you would go on a ferry is to go to a different island, which is Negros Island. Is usually where people go from Panay Island. SNR is in Iloilo. You're on the same island as SNR. Raining, very good here in Tagaytay. Super cool, 80 degrees. All right. If you not bring your car, just Ceres. Hey, Panay Pasi. Live the life worth living. Amen, Vaughn. All right, I'm just gonna scroll through this. I'm sure Fortune and Young Fresh, he's helping him out here figure it out. All right, that way I can get to my topic. I have not had to use some aircon. All right, when the SNR. All right, SNR. Okay, Vaughn. Michael, Fortune, Phil. The panels will. I know the panels will not burn, but it's a stigma that Filipinos carry. Phil. Yeah, and that's the other thing. The inverter, the batteries, that might catch fire, right? So that's the thing. It's like people put Filipinos hard-earned money, they put the money into their homes. That's why they do not want to burn their house because of the battery or the inverter blowing up on them. That's why, because in the US, the people that install your solar in the US, I know, they're bonded, they're insured, they have a guarantee. If my house burns down if I live in Arizona and I have solar panels and it burned down my house, I'm suing, right? You can sue somebody. In the Philippines, a lot of times this solar people that put solar in your house, they fly by night. They're gonna be, you start suing them or something, they'll disappear on you. It's not the same. That's why, so easy to say go get solar. Do you know why you don't have solar? Because we don't have the same service here in the Philippines that is available in America. There's not a reputable solar installation people that you can trust. There's a couple in Kalibo that's installing them now, but again, if your house burns down because of what they installed in your house, they ain't paying for your house. That I know. How's your day, Gino? Emilio, I'm doing great. Trying to get through the comments. All right, try. So there you go. Twin Lakes. All right, nice. All right, let me. I think we covered a little bit of this. Came from I already mentioned. JP mentioned if you got medications, try to get medications good for 6 months. That way you don't have to worry about seeing the doctor right away here in the Philippines. JP said he recommends when you get to the Philippines, he recommends walking. He's really enjoyed walking Kalibo because when he starts walking each day, that's where he finds out he knows JP probably knows more about Kalibo than me. He's finding alleyways and there's a fruit stand here or there's a vendor here. Because he's walking. When you're walking, for me, when I'm driving, it's hard for me to notice all the new things in Kalibo. But JP's, when he's walking, he gets to see. So that's his recommendation. Do a lot more walking when you get to the area where you go. Okay. This one, I want to read this. This is cool from my friend. This friend of mine, he's in Iloilo. He stays under the radar. He doesn't like. He has gone to expat get-togethers, but I can tell he's more private. And one thing he told me, kind of stick in my mind. Be careful of the expats you hang out because they're not all created equal. They're not all created equal here. And the reason I say his comment here. Stay away from expat complainers or loud foreigners. There are many of those here in the Philippines. You go to a bar scenario, you go to a restaurant scenario here in the Philippines where there's alcohol, where people are drinking. There's always going to be that loud foreigner that everybody kind of looks like, dang, it's kind of getting loud in here, with that guy, he said avoid those type of foreigners here in the Philippines because if you hang out with those foreigners, it's guilty by association. A lot of times, people, places like Kalibo, places, even Boracay, even though there are expats in that area, you're still a minority. You're still a low number. You don't want to get that reputation. Especially if you're trying to hook up with a Filipina, if you're trying to meet a Filipina here, you do not want to hang out with the loud complainers. There's some foreigners there that are heavy drinkers, and when they get inebriated, they start acting up. You don't want to be associated with those kind of people, and that's what my friend said. He avoids those kind of people for his own peace of mind. And his favorite thing, he came from the United States, but his favorite thing here, he loves karinderya. So not all foreigners that come here are the same. Some people don't touch the karinderya food, but my friend here, from the get-go, that was the one thing he enjoyed here because he just enjoyed the variety. He eats his breakfast at Carinderia, lunch and dinner. He's just so happy that he gets to try so much Filipino food. All right, let me delete that, make sure. Oh, okay, this one's a good one too. Like I said, man, I might not be able to cover everybody's comment here, but there's so many that I got. And thank you again for my friends. I really appreciate sharing. It's good for me to see, because I think after this live stream, I'm gonna make a video about all these things that a compilation or something that come up, because some of the things that they tell me. Even surprised me. Like my friend here, he said he was elated that before he got here, he brought 3 ATM cards from the United States. That way because your ATM in the United States work here in the Philippines. So if you can maneuver having several bank accounts in the US, it gives you better access to your money using your ATM, and that's what he does. He uses his ATM in the United States to get money here. He has 3 different ones, and it's happened to him where 1 or 2 of his cards, they won't take it or wouldn't dispense him money. So having 3 has been good for him, has been worked for him. One thing he mentioned, he feels like he got catfished with his with the condo Airbnb that he rented. Before he got here to the Philippines, he found some Airbnb online. Pictures look amazing and all that, but when he arrived to the Airbnb that he selected, he got catfish. And catfish is kind of like you get online, you see all these beautiful things about this Airbnb, and when you get to the place, you're going like, this is not the place that I rented. That was a mistake. That was a mistake that he did. And then it would have been better if I was able to assist him here in Kalibo. Like I said, that's why I think it's so important before you come here to the Philippines. Find a friend in the Philippines. Find a sponsor here. Maybe some of your big YouTubers don't have the time, because they're busy. But there's plenty of smaller YouTubers here, especially if you're going into their area. Contact them and see if they can help you out. That will help you out a lot. And then he was talking about catfishing with rentals, also getting catfished with girls. I'm gonna leave it at that, because that happens too. With especially if you're on the dating sites. You see the girl on the dating sites, or they send you a photo. Could be filtered. It could be filtered, and then when you meet the girl, oh dang, man, you're a lot older than I thought. So that kind of thing. I'm gonna leave it at that. He said, be careful with catfishing with rentals and girls, as he said. And then SRRV. If you're doing the SRRV, make sure all your documents that you're bringing to the Philippines, you take care of that in the U.S. If it needs to be apostilled, if it needs to be notarized in the U.S., make sure you do all that in America. Because if you try to do that here in the Philippines like he's doing, it's costing him way more money than what it should have cost. So try to get all that paperwork done. If you're gonna seek SRV, if you have divorce, if you got a birth certificate, whatever documents you have in the U.S., make sure it's already apostilled or notarized in the United States. Don't bring it here and they look at it, oh, this is not apostilled or notarized, and they will help you through the process of sending it back to the U.S. or whatever process here. It's gonna cost you a lot of money. And then one thing, he's a bigger guy. So if you're a bigger person, if you're a tall, big person, clothing will be an issue here. Especially shoes, especially if your shoe size is like 14, 15 shoe size. Availability of those shoe sizes are not high here in the Philippines. And I think I did a video of that. I've done a couple of videos like that, talking about that. If the double X, triple X, 4X size shirts, big pants, they're hard to find here in the Philippines. Shoe sizes, Most Filipinos I know, men anyway, men, were 8, 9, maybe 10 shoe size. So if you got like 14, 15 shoe size, gonna be difficult. And if you do find one like him, he says here, he found one, it cost him some money. It cost him extra money here in the Philippines. Cost him more than what he should have paid. One thing he wanted to add, like vitamins, shoes, shampoos, that he was able to order from Amazon before when he initially got here. He no longer available with Amazon. My thing with that, my advice to people, it's like, I know there's products in the U.S. that you're used to, but to me, shampoo, soap, it's like, start using what's local. That will save you money. If you're buying those products in at SNR, the Filipino Costco in Iloilo or Cebu, and just, you're gonna be paying a premium. If the shampoo you're using is from America, or the soap you're using is from America, deodorant, shaving cream, all that stuff that you're using is from America, it's gonna cost you money here. If you want to start saving money, you got to start using what's available here, the local brand. Just my 2 cents on that. All right, let me catch up here. Let me catch up on the comments here. Don't want to get too behind here. All right there. Michael C. Amen, bro. Stay away from loud expat for sure. Great advice. Yes, great to me. It's like, I believe that. It's like, I do not have a loud expat friend. Most of my expat friends, most of my expat friends don't drink. It's like, I don't drink, so I guess it makes sense because I don't drink, so I don't go to bars drinking. So a lot of my expat friends, they don't drink. If things aren't working out with LDR, I now have escape plan. My house burned down because of solar. All urgent medical, sick grandpa, and I had to for urgent. Yeah, that could be your. I was at this hotel around the 12th of June. Attend the wedding. They photo shoot Twin Lakes. All right, that's where you met Ray in the Philippines. All right. Chill dude. Gino, howdy, the most chill dude, the PH and I, Fossey Bruce. All right, Daniel, appreciate it, my brother. I just bought rechargeable fan. I had a rechargeable fan at one time. I bought extra batteries even. That worked out for a little bit, and then when it broke, Mom took it home to Katiklan at her house. I think that's where the fan is now. But they are available. I just use the little ones, like this one that Dazzle bought me. I really like this because I can just hook this up to my Blue Yeti. It can go for days. It's like it doesn't run out of battery. So I got this little. I just put it on my head and when there's a power outages to sleep. Greetings, Daniel. I'm in Manila now. As of yesterday. All right, I did see that, Bond. I saw the Mall of Asia. In one of your posts. Your posse hat says hello. All right, there you go. I will hold it for Von till he gets back. The Panay posse hat. No rain, Southern Leyte. Hello, I'll be back. All right. So wow, Kuya Bon. All right. Hey, there's Pinay Heart from Oceanside, California. Size matters in the Philippines. Size matters in the noted. That's funny. How did you know? Made it. All right. Thank you, Alan. Hey, man, my Boss Rooster Cup. That's Alan's design right there, and the Dazzle TV logo. Thank you. Only we can pay the amount eating out. So exhausting to cook, especially when craving for Pinoy food. Yeah, that's the thing. I know. It's expensive, especially California, to eat out. Here, Vaughn was having a great time because everything was inexpensive for him. My wife used CVS bucks here to save tons. We pay almost nothing for shampoo stuff. See, that's a good idea, am I right? You know, it's like start packing that, whatever, when they have sale in the United States, right? When they have like 2 for 1 or the coupons, you can get them. Just start like loading that in a balikbayan box and ship it here. Nice rainy day today. I like the sound of rain. Me too, man. Earlier it was a downpour, man. Now it's stopped now, but I like it. I like it when I hear rain. Big waves today. I love the cup, bro. So cool, yeah. This is designed by Alan there. And the Boss Rooster. That's it. Yeah, when you're here, Pinoy Heart, I have a friend, I have my friend Ruben in Calibo. I don't think he's ever cooked here. I don't think, he just hits the carinderia. He's just always eating out, getting takeout from places here. It's so inexpensive. All right, let me keep clicking here. The first thing I noticed in my first visit to the Philippines is how friendly and warm the people are. And that's common. People will see that. Especially if you're a foreigner, if you're a Kano. When you come here, it's you're probably one, man, is anybody gonna talk to me? Man, Filipinos love talking to a Kano here because it practices their English. Filipinos are proud, when they can speak to a Kano. They're like, oh man, it's like because a lot of times people forget this. It's like if you're in the cities, like in Manila, Cebu City, man, those people there are gonna be well spoken with English, because they're around it all the time, man. Especially kids now. If you see kids now here in the Philippines, growing up in the city, like in Manila, Iloilo City, Dumaguete City, all these places, that city, the kids are growing up like well versed in English. Their parents are talking to them in English because they know the importance of the English language here. It's a status symbol here in the Philippines to be able to speak English really well. Now, here in the province, the dynamic is a little different. A lot of your older people, your workers, they're not as confident with their English because a lot of them, they had English class maybe in elementary school, in high school. But now that they're in the workforce, they're working at the mall, they're a salesperson at the mall, they're working at the food court, their opportunity to speak English is the only time really they would speak English is when they have a Kano, when they have an American, a foreigner customer. It's the only time. So that's why when you're walking at the mall and there's an older person or somebody that you start talking to in English, they are proud that, like, man, I can do it. I can converse with a Kano here. It's like they're proud of that, and also remember that people always I see comments sometimes when people say, "Oh, now all Filipinos speak English." Of course, not all Filipinos speak English. It'd be the same if, like, in the U.S., does all Americans speak Spanish? Because there's a lot of Hispanics in the United States, but not everybody can speak Spanish. It's the same dynamic. It's like, a lot of people here in the province, and, you even get people here in the province that don't even finish high school. So they've been workers, they've been construction workers, whatever. They didn't even some 5th grade education, 6th grade education. So of course they're not going to be well versed in English. Know where you are in the Philippines. In the cities, no problem. If you live in the cities, man, like I said, most people in the cities can talk English to you, but like in the provinces, it's a different dynamic. And then my friend here is saying the smile. The smile is what will surprise you here. If you're walking here in the Philippines, like JP, walking in Calibo, walking around the market, if you smile at a person here, they will smile back. A lot of times they'll say, "Good morning, sir." You will get that. I guess that's not a dynamic. In the U.S., everybody's kind of, like watching out. Why he say hi to me? It's like, what he want from me? It's like that kind of, does he know me? Or why is he saying hello to me? It's like, he's not supposed to be smiling at me or saying hello to me. Do I know him? Here, that's the dynamic here. People are just friendly. People are friendly here. Even, especially to Akano. They like having foreigner friends here. Gets to practice their English here. And I get with this friend of mine also, the first, it says here, first things I learned in the Philippines is at the intersection. Again, the four-way intersection without a stop sign, without a stop traffic light, very common here in the province. Our entire province of Aklan province, the only traffic lights you'll see would be in Kalibo. So maybe in the entire province of Aklan, we got like 4 stop traffic lights. That's why he's saying here. And cars don't stop for pedestrians. That's another thing that will probably drive you nuts, right? You could be in a pedestrian lane here in crossing the street, crossing the highway, anywhere here. You could be already in the pedestrian lane, right? You're already walking the pedestrian lane. Me, I'm always in a rush. Most people here are in a rush because you want to get out of the pedestrian lane because you seem like a target when you're walking in the pedestrian lane. It is not the same dynamic in the US where a pedestrian lane in the United States is basically a stop sign. If you see a pedestrian lane in the US, somebody attempting to even cross, you stop, full complete stop. Philippines, not the same. In the Philippines, you could be in the middle walking already and they won't slow down. You'll be like this. You'll be walking and they'll guide around you. It's like you're going like, what the heck? Is he going to try to run over me? I just filmed a video in Kalibo. The only traffic light in Kalibo, one of the few traffic lights in Kalibo by the Petron station. I was standing there, right? Because I'm filming, and I was waiting for that green sign, the man walking, right? The man walking. So I got the green. I'm walking, right? So it's my turn to walk. So I'm trying to rush through it, trying to walk cross the street, right? Tricycle almost hit me. Almost hit me. I'm like, dude, I got him on film. So I got him, dude, you're just trying to hit me. I'm walking on the green, on a pedestrian lane. I got the green walking guy, and he almost hit me with a tricycle. Be careful. Be careful when you're walking in a pedestrian lane here. You're almost like a target. You're almost like a target for people here. It says here in this comment, foreigners must know this. At intersection, stop. Look both ways. Proceed with caution. Don't expect cars or buses to stop for you. And that's the truth. You cannot expect all the rules, in America. When I got my driver's license at 16. I had to take a semester of driving school in school. Got the road exam and all that. Throw everything out what you learn about driving. It doesn't apply in the Philippines. All the rules that I've been driving since I was 16. I moved here when I was 45. I didn't drive right away. It took me 3 years to finally buy a car here. My first 3 years. So I was 48. So from the things that I knew about driving, I had to forget all about that because driving here takes a lot of patience. Super defensive. You have to be super defensive. Do not assume anything here. People go the wrong way all the time here. What is that called? Like against the flow, counter flow. That they do that all the time. You could be going this way in the street here. There's somebody going here. Like, where did that guy come from? Motorbikes here, even worse. Motorbikes here, man, they come out of nowhere. That's why I don't even drive at nighttime here. The minute it gets dark, kind of like my rule with my mother when I was growing up, when you see that street light come on, stay in the house. Same thing with me. When I see that street light come on, I don't drive. To me, it's like it would be insane to drive here in the province at nighttime because people drive here in the province without headlights on, without their motorbike light on, no reflective gear or anything. People cross the street here in dark clothing at nighttime. Just so many things could go wrong if you try to drive at night here. Let me, there's a lot of comments. These comments go by fast. I don't want to. All right, let me see. Ooh, man, there's a lot of comments here. Hopefully, I won't have to kick my drinking habit of Coke Zero. I love that cup. All right, okay, that's the. You can, all right, for Chen. I arrived in Subic today for 5 days. All right, man, Subic, nice, nice. I have not been there in a long time, but I know the area really well, Daniel. Awesome. Yeah, you're going to have a great time there. Can we get a top 5 Carinderia list from Ruben? His top 5, I'm pretty sure, JP, Ruben's back in the US right now. He won't be back here till like, I think middle of July. I think he's gonna stop at Angeles City first. Angeles City. But the carinderias that he likes is right across the shopping. To me, those are the best carinderias in Calibo because of the selection. Especially if you get there like at 10:30 when they're cooking it and they're just laying out all the food. That's the best carinderias in Calibo, hands down. The quality, the amount of serving that you get right in the shop. The place where you get your barber shop, your haircut, that area's got the best carinderias here. Nice, Daniel. That's where we get food in Calibo for eating carinderia. Merle, I found a good carinderia and became friends with the owner. I pay 100 pesos for 2 ulam. So, right there, Merle, this is Boracay Island. Boracay Island, a tourist destination. He spends less than $2 for his meal. 2 ulam, which means 2 dishes. He can select a vegetable dish, a meat dish, and rice. And he pays 100 pesos in Boracay Island, a tourist destination in the Philippines. Spending less than $2. Free soup too. You get free soup when you eat at the carinderia. Right, Kuya Fortune, I spent hours and hours of cooking, cleaning, end up so tired where I can't do anything anymore. Oh, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Pinay. You're oh yeah, Daniel's like having the time of his life. I know, he's doing it, man. He's doing it. You know, come to the Philippines, travel the Philippines, enjoy the Philippines, and very affordable to travel here. Mac and cheese, $20. Oof, man, that is high. That is high, man. That's crazy. My first 100 days in the PM, many ups and downs, but 100,000% grateful. In driving Philippines, especially in the province, one must be a negotiator. Negotiator, I like that, Vaughn. I like that. You have to negotiate. Yeah, it's like there's a flow. There's a flow to it that the minute you drive here, take your time, be patient, but you will understand the flow. You know, like I said, you know, that the head nod, like if I'm at the, you know, if I'm in the intersection and I give this guy a head nod like that, that means go ahead. But if I'm looking at him and he goes like this, like that means you go ahead. You know, there's a rhythm. There's a rhythm to driving here. Nobody like crashes in through the four-way intersection. That would be crazy. Pretty much everybody kind of slow down. So that's why people say, how do they manage that? That four-way intersection. Everybody just kind of slow down. Everybody's kind of looking. You know, you got to be alert, and then it just works out. You will find the rhythm of how driving it is here. I am happy for you, Daniel. All right, true. Driving night is scary. Everyone follow their own rules. All right. I got to the bottom. All right. I just don't. Monday 29 is my 6 monthsary. All right, Seth. You know, I like removed. You know, my phone. I don't never hear my phone ring or anything. Let me know if I lost you guys, because that's unfortunate. You know, like my WhatsApp, my Messenger, everything. I kind of blocked like somebody calling me, contacting me on the phone, because people have been calling me and I'll be on the live stream, and it kind of kills my live stream when that happens. Let me know if you guys are still there, because I don't want to keep talking here. I think I'm still on. I think I'm still on. All right. Looks like I'm still on. Let me know. Let me know if I lost you guys because of that phone call. Because I do get him, it's like, it surprises me sometimes too, right? Like, I get phone calls from the US like at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, dude, it's like, do people do that now in the US? They just call you? It's like, what happened to texting first and like scheduling a call? You're back. All right, I'm back. All right, good, good. Loud and clear. Thank you, thank you. Just like yeah, yeah. All right, all right. That's good. I did not lose you guys because someone had called me on my phone. It's good here. All right. Okay. This comment. When we first arrived in the Philippines, April of 2023, besides securing housing, I needed to test out my plan. Formulated while he was in the United States. VPN. For my friend here, VPN, trying all the, people that come here, they want to use VPN. So he was trying to do that before because his American bank accounts, that was one of the things he was concerned. Accessing all his accounts in the United States. And then one of the things that struck him, because he landed here in April 2023 in Calibo. They stayed in Calibo, him and his wife, Filipino wife, my friend stayed in Calibo for 1 year in an apartment in Calibo. And the very first thing that he realized is he couldn't fit in the tricycle. It's just like too small for him because my friend's like 6'4", big guy, big American guy. He doesn't fit the tricycle. And I can vouch for him because even when I ride the tricycle in Calibo, I'm 5'10". When I ride the tricycle in Calibo, I cannot sit straight. I would be banging every time I'm sitting in a tricycle in Calibo, I'm like this. And I'm putting my hand over my head because if the tricycle like hits a bump, I'm going to bang my head to the roof. So I'm like this the whole time when I'm riding a tricycle. So know that if you're a taller person, bigger person, the tricycle, you might not fit in a tricycle in the Philippines. That's why for my friend, it didn't take him very long to purchase a vehicle here. Even though he knew he was just trying it out, he said he couldn't fit in the tricycle, so he bought a vehicle 3 months in here in the Philippines. He immediately bought a vehicle. And now he's retired here for good. He tried Calibo for a year now. He only lives like 15 minutes away from me in Lezo. He bought a house. He refurbished the house. He's got a nice place in Lezo, Aklan now. And the very first, his first experience was the LTO, the Land Transportation Office. And because one of the very first things you got to do when you come here to the Philippines is you're allowed to drive on your foreign license. Like, let's say you have a Texas license or Arizona license. You're allowed to drive on that for 90 days here. All you got to do to prove that on your passport, just make a copy of your passport, the stamp on your passport that says date of arrival in the Philippines, and then your picture on your passport. That way you're not carrying your passport around. Carry that, cut it, whatever, laminate it, whatever you want to do it. Carry that in your wallet just to show proof that, hey, I arrived here in the Philippines and your foreign license. You're good for 90 days. But after 90 days, you have to get a Philippine driver's license, especially like my friend. He had bought a vehicle. So he better have a Filipino license if he's driving here in the Philippines. So he did. And that was his initiation here in the Philippines of the government bureaucracy. If it's your first time applying for a Philippine license, it's a long process. It could take you a whole day at the land transportation here. Again, depending on where you are in the Philippines, it helps if you know somebody that works at the land transportation office. Some people will say there are no longer fixers here in the Philippines, but there are. There are fixers here. It's like it's illegal for fixers to be around. Fixers are like people that kind of they're a go-between. Like if you need a document, if you need a driver's license for the Land Transportation Office, there's guys that usually kind of hang around the government agency, and they have a connection inside and all that. It's supposed to be illegal, like a lot of things here in the Philippines, against the law, illegal, all that. But they're around. They're around. If you don't mind paying the extra money, don't want to go through all the hassle of the bureaucracy. Because if you try to do it yourself, you're gonna need a lot of patience, especially if you're trying to get a Philippine driver's license for the first time. There's gonna be a medical exam. There's gonna be at least half a dozen windows that you gotta go to window 1, get your picture taken. Go to window 2, get your fingerprint. Go to window 3. Have you got this? Do you have an what was that? The online account? I'm like, if you're new in the Philippines, you're gonna go like, what are they talking about? You know, it's like, you know, in the U.S. when you go to the Land Transportation Office in the U.S., the DMV. Usually you go in there, you take a number, your number's called, you go to the person that's handling the license. There's a lady, a man in front of a computer, and he takes care of everything for you. Don't work like that here in the Philippines. You're gonna be like going through one window, one after the other. Forms. You gotta fill out forms here. You gotta fill out this form, and half of the times you don't understand. You know, it's like, what are they asking me here? You're filling out the form, and then when you're completed with the form, you gotta turn it into the person. Person's going to review it. This needs to be checked by another checker, a supervisor, somebody going to check your form, and then they'll take that form and somebody's got to encode it. Somebody's got to load that, just a long, arduous process. That's why, if you know somebody in the Land Transportation Office, or if you know someone that can be a fixer for you, pay the money, because you don't want to if you don't want to get stressed with the process. Right there, he says it. Having friends or relatives in the Philippines make life so much easier. And that's what I was always telling people. Before you come to the Philippines, try to make friends with somebody here already, especially if this is your place that you plan on retiring and starting your life. Like I know, JP is so thankful for me. Edgar is so thankful for me. Mel is so thankful. Ruben is so thankful for me, because they do not have to go through trying to figure out who they can trust, or is this guy trying to scam me? I let them know. A quick message from JP asking, Gino, how does this thing work? Okay, this is how it works here. Somebody to explain things to you here. Oh, Kim, I haven't seen Kim Mandal here in a while. Merle, it's good. Kim Mandal, hey Gino, long time. I know. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for all is well. Bond right here. Defensive. Yep. Give in. I always give in. Fortune. I'm always like, go ahead. I'm never in a rush here. That's why I think it works for me driving here. I have a folder in my camera. Good advice. Take all your identification. If you're carrying your phone anytime, all the time, they will take that too. Here in the Philippines, like even my PWD card, my person with disability card, I have it on my phone. And if I show them the phone with my PWD, they take it. They don't question it. So that way you're not carrying your documents. You don't want to be carrying your important, especially passport. Never carry your passport with you. Keep that locked up somewhere. Just a copy of the picture page of your passport with your picture. That is all you need here. 3 months, I use VPN, Surfshark with no issues. Sometimes you may have to pause it. All right, thank you, Daniel. So it was the same thing with my friend. He was concerned about that, using VPN and Surfshark. I've never used it. I don't know. I've never used that stuff, so I don't know, man. I know it's a membership. I know, I'm so frugal. If it costs anything, I'm not having it, man. I've been using Surfshark since in the US, passport stamps, ACR. My bank thinks I live in. Oh, awesome! See that with your sister. That's awesome, man. Hey, Colonel. Good morning, sportsman. It's a Colonel. I think I went to 9 windows at LTO. See, right there, JP went to 9 windows. 9 windows, man. And you gotta listen. What's bad, right, JP? You gotta listen for your name because they get upset at you. You know, the lady that's sitting on whatever window the lady's at, right? If they tell you go to window 8, you gotta be like sitting right across window 8, and they call your name. You better stand up and get there because if you miss it, your paper goes to the bottom. You know, it's like there is no loudspeaker saying JP Calibo window 9. There ain't no such thing. I mean, you gotta be alert, man. If you got bad hearing or anything, man. 3 days, 9 windows. Took three half days for JP to get a driver's license. Merle, yes indeed. Thank you so much, Kuya Gino. You made my move here in Boracay easy. And that's the thing, it's like Merle, it's like it's so much easier if you have somebody guiding you through the process. Even somebody like you can just quick text, little things. I always get texts from people like texts that say, it's simple to me. It's not, but to somebody new to an area, even finding. Man, there's something I saw at the market. It's like, how come, Edgar yesterday asked me, Gino, yesterday I was just filming a bread and butter. Bread and butter is like a bakery. And Edgar was just like filming bread and butter because he wants to show it on his Facebook. People in Ohio, his family in Ohio, see, things that he's doing here. He wants to post it on Facebook. And the owner came up to Edgar and says, why are you filming my store? And Edgar was asking me, is that common, Gino? Did you get asked? Things like that. And I can explain it to Edgar why that happened. JP. Not known yet, JP. All right. And the last comment from my friend about the LTO. And then now even the driving now. I'll read you his comment here. Philippine radar. I like it how he calls it. Philippine radar to the list. Found out that Filipinos seem to feel their way through traffic. I think I have tapped into that. He has tapped into like the Philippine radar of driving. Because sometimes, man, when you get to intersection, I've had this happen to me. When you get to intersection, somebody actually like go against the flow and go straight at you. Normally, people that you would be freaked out, right? Like a motorbike or a tricycle go counterflow, headed straight at you. To me, it's now normal. I know what I got to do. I got to look to my left. I got to look to my right. I got to see, can I move to the left? Can I move to the right? Or sometimes I just got to stop because I can't go anywhere and let the guy through. That's just the Philippine radar that my friend is talking about. You will learn the Filipino radar when you're driving here. It takes time sometimes, but you will pick it up. You will pick up the... Another friend here, he just says, I can't think of anything much, but still always amazing how helpful and nice the Filipino people are. That's common with a lot of the answers that I got from my friends. Now, this friend of mine arriving in Manila. He arrived in Manila back in April of 2018. He arrived in Manila, and these are some of the first impression that he got out of Manila. First was the driving. When he was driving, when you land in Manila, he was gonna stay in Manila because he was gonna start a business. He's a businessman. I got a businessman friend here in Manila, and the first thing he noticed was the amount of billboards. That gigantic billboards here. The size of a building. So, these billboards are like 3-4 stories high billboards in Manila. Just like, an amazing amount of billboards. And the first thing that he noticed was the amount of skin whitening products on those billboards. Amazing when you think of it, because this is a tropical nation. The Filipinos, I mean, you're always in the sun, so it's like almost kind of impossible to think that, why they prefer whiter skin in the Philippines. But that is so true, because like I cannot find, if I go to the SM Cherry, if I go to Calibo right now, I cannot find a regular lotion. Most of your lotion here in the Philippines are skin whitening lotion. So, and I don't want to put skin whitening lotion on my arm, just because like, what is causing it to whiten your skin? I don't want no chemicals or anything like that in my skin. But that was one of the things that he noticed, was the amount of, but the Philippines, I would say like majority of Filipino are brown skin, right? So to have that, postered big billboards all over Manila, to me it's not good. I don't think it's good. Encouraging people to lighten their skin. And then for my friend, when he checked, he got this Airbnb. He was gonna move into this Airbnb, and he noticed, of course, back then, this was like what, 2018, 2017, 2018. It was just moving here to the Philippines. Again, be careful with catfishing with Airbnbs here, because a lot of times what the picture shows is not the same when you get arrived. Like for him, the thing that he noticed was that he wanted that Airbnb because it had hot shower on that Airbnb. And so when my friend, when he said when he got to the Airbnb got AC, everything was like as advertised, right? When he took out, looked at the shower, when he looked at, he did this to like the curtain, there was no shower at all. And he's like, where's the shower? Where's the shower? So he's like, of course, he's like, contact the Airbnb person right away. It's like, hey, you advertise hot shower. All I see in the shower is a big bucket and a tabo. Tabo is a scoop to scoop the water. Where's the hot shower? And the person owning the Airbnb, he goes, what do you mean there's no shower? You do tabo shower. And my friend, it's like he wasn't aware at the time what a tabo shower is. A tabo shower here in the Philippines is basically a big bucket. You get a scoop, that's the tabo, and you use it on your head. You wet yourself, you shampoo, whatever, and you use the same tabo to like rinse off the soap, shampoo. That's a tabo shower. So my friend immediately found out what a tabo shower is, and then but again, he was like, so where's the hot water? I can take a tabo shower, but where's the hot water? He didn't realize when he was looking online for this Airbnb, majority of the people that were staying in that Airbnb were Filipinos. To a Filipino, that's normal. To a Filipino, if I see like a bucket, a tabo, that's normal. That's like, oh, okay, that's their shower here. I'm gonna take. But again, he was a foreigner, coming to the Philippines. That was new to him. And as far as his hot water would be, you boil hot water and you put it on the pail. That way it warms up the water in the bucket, and then you do your tabo shower. Now he knows that. He actually ended up becoming really good friends because he moved into that Airbnb and ended up staying in that Airbnb long term, because the owner was so kind. And then the owner actually approached my friend and asked him, he wanted to attract more foreigners staying at his Airbnb, and ask him for recommendation. And one of his recommendation is put up a shower, put up one of those units that heat up the water coming out of the shower. So now that the owner has that, and they become really good friends. Actually, the owner of the Airbnb is a dentist and became his dentist, and now friends with his, now, my friend got married. Now he got kids now. He's the family dentist now. Even gets one of those dental packs. During the holidays, his family gets a dental pack from them every time from this dentist, and they become really good friends. I thought that was kind of the great story, and I'm appreciate my friend for sharing that story. He's got another story here, but about he had. He's like I said, he was starting his business in Manila. Really, I'm sure knowing my friend, his business took off. He did really well with his business in Manila. He lives, it's like high end now. But one of the things he mentioned was at the time when he was like starting up his business, he's putting a lot of hours in his business in Manila. He's a foreigner starting a business in Manila. He was really working. A lot of times he forgot the time of the day. And one time he was so thirsty. It was late at night. Everything was closing up, even 7-Eleven. And he found this one lemonade stand. But this lady was already closing the lemonade stand. And he convinced the lady, hey, can I just get a lemonade? I'm so thirsty. And the lady goes, well, I'm close already. It's like, but the lady ended up making him one lemonade. And then, he was so happy he got the lemonade. He was drinking it. He was so thankful. But then he realized he didn't bring his wallet. He didn't bring his wallet. He left his wallet in his office, and he goes to the lady. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna run back to the office, get money, and pay you. And the lady, of course, she was already shutting down for the day, and already packed up the stuff and made him one lemonade. And then the lady was just going, I don't have time. I gotta leave and all that. But one thing my friend learned is, the lady actually had to get money out of her own pocket, because the owner of the lemonade stand counted the number of plastic cups that sold that, so that's how the owner of that stand for that lady working there. So she had to pay for that lemonade that my friend drank, Of course, it felt so bad because it's like, coming out of her own pocket. And long story short, he ended up, of course, next day compensating the lady and all that. But that's just, he never heard of that term here, like the counting the cups. That's how these owners or these vendors, that's how they track it. If they have 50 plastic cups that day, the owner, and there's no cups, at the end of the day, that's how they figure out. That's how they figure out in the cash box, this is the amount of money. Let me go through the comments here. Just want to make sure. All right. Does it have a name yet? Does it have? Always appreciate your help, Gino. Hey, there he is. There's my friend Ivan. Hello from in Iloilo City. All right. They have Coke Zero and Pepsi. Time in the Philippines, like the Smash, Colonel. How about Black Mamba? Oh, Black Mamba. Black Mamba. That's a good name. Colonel. Nope, can't say the name it has right now. Is the MB player. Seems like the name of the pirate ship would fit. Haha, whitening products for everyone. LOL. Yeah, I mean, like, you can't get away from whitening products here, Pinay Heart. Lotion, you got soap even. I'm like, man, why would I want, I don't want to use any chemicals on my body to whiten my skin, man. Leave the bucket of water in the sun for a couple of hours, and it's a hot shower, GB. Philippines, found. That Philippines Life found a hidden camera in the Airbnb. Oh, yeah, yeah, it could happen, right? It could happen, man. Mix it in a bucket and go. All right. Okay, another friend of mine, he says here, the heat. And we were talking about this earlier about the heat. The heat here in the hit us all hard. My friend here, he was coming from Canada. Canada's like a lot of snow in Canada. So the heat, especially if you're coming from a cold environment, you're landing in the Philippines, man, I could not even imagine that. It's like I could not even imagine, that the heat, you will be sweating. You will be sweating here in the Philippines. Drink a lot of fluids, man. Drink a lot of fluids. Like me, I got my calamansi juice here, man. I finished with my green tea. Now I'm drinking some calamansi juice. And he's saying that it's just a different lifestyle pace here. I advised that to my friend. He's going to be here soon. Olson's going to be here soon with Aliyah, Isaiah, bringing the whole family to the Philippines. Less than 30 days, I think, now that he's going to be here. And my advice to him, it's like, don't overthink it. If you come here to the Philippines, you're prepared everything, you research, you got to plan everything. But once you get here, don't overthink it. Because when you start overthinking things, it might overwhelm you here and stress you, if anything. You're going to make mistakes. There's going to be mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes here. Just make sure you learn from the mistakes. And the pace of life here in the Philippines, that was one. I answered him in my comments because he commented on my video, and I told him, it's like it's just a slower pace of life here, not the hectic pace in the America. Everything moves here on island time. Everybody's late here. Don't be surprised if someone tells you, yeah, let's meet there at 6 p.m. and come 6:30, 7 p.m. They're not there yet. You might text them, hey, where you at? And they'll go, oh, I'm on my way. And when on my way means they're just jumping in the shower. That's just how Filipinos think sometimes. Very common for Filipinos to be late. Everything is just laid back here. Everything, nobody rushes. Everything moves on island time. He was looking for a long-term rental when he got to Iloilo City. It says here, a little tricky for them because he was bringing his wife with him and 2 kids, young kids too. At the time, maybe 3 or 6 or 7 or 4 years old. So they were bringing 2 kids here to the Philippines. So it's hard. It's hard to find like a residential for a family. A lot easier, like for JP, I can find him an apartment. Harder to find, like if you're bringing a family. Like the other day, not even a week ago, this Polish guy. He's from Poland, man. He's never even communicated with me. I've never even heard from him. He knocks on my door. He's go. Dazzle comes up. I was in the bedroom upstairs. Dazzle go. Yeah, there's an American guy looking for you downstairs. I'm like, what? It's like I didn't get a text or nothing. And sure enough, it came out. Guy said he's from Poland. I guess he's building a home somewhere in Kalibo, and it wasn't ready. So he needed he was asking me about the house here at Camille Aklan, the one I filmed, if it's available, owned by my friend Jean. Jean's abroad right now. So, yes, it's like, dang, it's like, okay, I can message her or whatever. Luckily, I don't know the time. He goes, he knew the time difference. He goes, I guess because he's from Poland. He goes, yeah, I told him that I think she's in Italy, And she go, oh yeah, they're only 6 hours behind. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm looking at the time. I guess I can call him. It's morning time in Italy, I guess. So I call him. Luckily, we got her on the phone. We got her on the phone. Now he moved in there because he's got a family. He's got kids with him. So he was kind of in a bind about finding a place to stay here. I mean, he cut it close. I mean, he landed here and didn't have a place for his family, but now he's renting that 3-bedroom, 3-bath here at Camellia. So I have another expat. I have another expat neighbor here. I used Lina when I was young. I don't know what a Lina is. Lina, Emilio. I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with a Lina, man. As a white, pale man, I run from... yeah, right. If you're already white, I'm sure you'll run away from... Me too, man. I never used that products, man. I lived in for 25 years, and I felt the heat when I... Yeah, right? See, thank you for saying that, Jeffrey. Tampa, Florida. 25 years in Tampa, Florida. You know, kind of like that same tropical weather. When he got here, he felt the heat. And he felt the heat. The heat in the Philippines just hits different. Strong. The sun here, for some reason, is strong. If you don't have an umbrella or a hat, it will burn your skin here if you're out in the sun. Good AM, Colonel. All right. Getting around the city with Grab was very easy. Very easy. Grab in Iloilo City, no problem at all. No problem using Grab. Grab and taxi. That's one thing so nice about Iloilo City. It's not the same as being in Manila. In Manila or Cebu City, if you ride the taxi, you're kind of worried. You know, the taxis in Manila will scam you. You know, they got all kinds of scam going with the taxis in Manila. In Iloilo City, I've ridden taxis there many times. Never been scammed. So honest. The people in Iloilo, taxi drivers in Iloilo City are so honest. And then you got Grab also. Okay. My other friend here, he came. My other friend here, he first landed in Iloilo City. My friend from Atlanta. He was coming from Atlanta. Actually, I met him through another subscriber of mine that I was helping in Bacolod. Met my other friend, and he let this friend of mine from Atlanta know, hey, contact Gino. He'll help you out in the Philippines. So he stayed in Iloilo City for about a week. He stayed in Iloilo City, and then he headed over here. When he got to Iloilo City, he contacted me. He goes, Gino, I'm on my way to Calibo. I said, all right, man, I'll come see you when you get here. So he took a bus. From Iloilo City to Calibo. That bus is about, I'd say 3.5 hours. A pretty comfortable bus. I think he may even made a comment here about that. He says, I especially enjoyed the bus ride from Iloilo City to Calibo. It was more comfortable and smoother than I expected. And it gave me a good first impression of traveling locally. Because the Ceres is called CERES, Ceres bus here in Panay Island. Very comfortable, especially the air-conditioned one. The air-conditioned one, if you're traveling here on the Ceres bus, on the windshield, right close to where the driver sits, always look for the sign that says limited stops. Because if it doesn't have that limited stop, that bus is gonna stop at every street, every time it gets flagged down, that bus is gonna make numerous stops. So always look for the sign that says limited stops. A lot of those limited stop buses, what they do before they leave Iloilo City, they'll fill up the bus. So they're not going to be taking passengers along the way. You know, it's like, again, limited stops. Remember that. You're going to thank me if you ride the bus here in Panay Island and ride the limited. So my friend, you know, he made it to Calibo. He contacted me. I remember we had lunch together. this was the thing. He was, he says, funny surprise when he got to Kalibo. He was expecting when he got to Kalibo, because he had stayed the first week in Iloilo City, they got Grab in Iloilo City. Yeah, they got Grab operators where, you use the Grab app, you tell them, hey, I'm going from this, and then you get the quote, same Grab in the United States, right? And then you get the amount, how much you pay, and you can even use the app. It's connected your card, no cash, you can do that. He was surprised when he got to Kalibo. He's like, my Grab app is not working in Kalibo. Guess what? We do not have Grab in Kalibo. That's the thing. Kalibo is not a city. Kalibo is just like a bigger town. It's a bigger town. So he ended up hiring a tricycle, which is not a problem, easy enough. He got to the Ceres bus station in Kalibo. From the bus station to his hotel, probably charged him 60 pesos, about a dollar to get to his hotel. That was kind of like his he says his welcome to the Philippines moment. Welcome to the Philippines moment, because like, what's going on? My Grab app is not working. Because we don't have Grab. Even now, we don't have Grab here in... I'm surprised, actually, that the tricycle drivers don't do a Grab. Because I know in Dumaguete City, they have Grab in Dumaguete City, but the Grab in Dumaguete City is a tricycle. Don't expect a taxi to come or a car to come when you contact Grab in Dumaguete City, unless it's changed. The last I heard is that Grab in Dumaguete City is by tricycle. And then my friend here says, I cannot overstate the friendliness of the people. And I always talk about this. Panay Island, for some reason, Iloilo City, some of the best people that you'll meet, some of the kindest people that you'll meet. Kalibo, the local, JP, Ruben, all of them. If you're asking a person in Kalibo for help, they will help you. I can give you an example. I've been driving our car, 2018, right? I bought it November 28th, so about 8 years on my car. I had issues with the car when I changed all the tires. I think it was the stem that they gave me. So one time I was getting a flat tire. I was constantly getting a flat tire. I got a flat tire at Loola's Fish Farm. I even got a flat tire at the Canadian Beaver. I got a flat tire in Kalibo. I've never changed my own tire. I've owned the car now 8 years. I've never changed every time I get a flat tire, all I got to do is like look around, tricycle drivers, whatever, they approach you. You need help, kuya? They're always like that. So help. I mean, I'm not lying. I'm honest. I've never changed a tire in the Philippines. It doesn't matter if I'm on the highway, in a remote area, whatever. People are gonna rally and it's do you have a jack? They don't even know how to use your jack. And next thing you know, you have a whole pit crew. You got like 4 or 5 people like helping you to replace your car, the tire on your car. That's how amazing the people are here in Panay Island. I think you see that a little bit on James and Karen's adventures also, right? When they're having flat tire all over the place, because on the motorbike it's almost understandable. You're gonna get more flat tires here. You're gonna get assistance from different people here. I mean, you saw even with the Colonel, right? With this van. There's no towing companies here, right? No, in Panay Island, I've not seen like a tow truck or anything. But man, they will help you. They're gonna use their motorbike. They're gonna use tricycle. They're gonna push it. Whatever they need to do to assist you. There's never a shortage of people that will help you here. And to me, that is just so refreshing, man. Because I know in America, man, you better have AAA. You better have AAA because no car is gonna. If you're on a highway on a remote area and you get a flat or your car break down, good luck. Somebody stop it, and anything, you'd be worried if they stop. Is this guy trying to jack me or. But here, just the kindness of people. Like my friend was saying here, as a visitor, he was humbled by the amount of respect, the amount of friendliness, and the kindness of people here. Food. Food for him is harder because he doesn't eat pork. One thing here in the Philippines, pork is number one here in the Philippines. That is the favorite meat item in the Philippines. Lechon, the whole roast pig, numerous pork adobo, pork dishes. They kill a whole pig here, and they'll cook several different Filipino dishes. Like I said, more popular than beef here. So a little harder for my friend because he doesn't eat pork. Filipinos are pork eaters. But once he got settled in, he didn't eat, my friend actually from Elena, I didn't even think he was going to stay in Kalibo. It's like he came from Iloilo. He was there Iloilo 1 week. He stayed in Kalibo for 3 weeks, I think, 3 weeks at a hotel. Now he's at La Casa Española with JP. He's been there since July. He's going to be there almost a year now. And he's so happy here. He said, man, I found a home here. People are so kind and friendly here in Aklan Province and Panay Island. And then he says here, the Philippines felt welcoming. The people made the transition easier. And even the small challenges, of course, there's going to be challenges, the language barrier, the culture barrier here. But even with the small challenges, became part of the learning here, and he just absolutely loves it here. I know he's going to be a permanent resident here now in Kalibo, man. He's been here for a while, almost a year now in Kalibo. My biggest lesson for the first 30 days in country, it requires patience, humility, and willingness to learn, is what he said on his message to me. My dog wants to go out. Now I gotta go. All right, wait, hurry up. It's raining. And it's raining outside, so Toto is, I'm sure, my dog always signals me when he wants to come in. He'll bark one time when he's done doing his business. All right. Fortune. Merle, all right. My landlord is so nice. Gave me a free ride home to the basketball court. I played with kind people from Quezon City and locals. It was a close game. Luckily, I made the game-winning shot. All right, Merle, man. Are you U.S. Air Force veteran? Yes, I'm United States Air Force retired. I served 20 years active duty in the United States Air Force. Oh, 8 years in the Army. Thank you for your service. Thank you for, if you serve. Thank you. All right. That's a common thing, right? We say thank you for your service. All right. Gino, did you have a hard time buying a car? No problem buying a car here. My dog, got one bark. All right, hurry up. As long as you have cash here, I mean, anybody can buy. I mean, you could be a foreigner here. You could be in a tourist visa here. They're not going to turn away your cash. If you're buying a car, if you got cash, no problem buying a vehicle in the Philippines. Do you have joyride? No joyride. No, nothing. Tricycles is the main thing in Kalibo. There's no Grab, joyride, nothing like that. A motorcycle. Yeah, in Boracay, it's not called joyride. It's not called joyride in Boracay, where Merle is. In Boracay, it's just hubble. It's like these guys on motorbikes, they're riding around Boracay, and you could be like walking, they'll beep, they'll like one time on their horn, Like, so it makes you look, and they'll go, you need a ride, you need a ride. And it's usually depending on, usually 20, 30 pesos, you just hop on the motorbike and they take you anywhere in Boracay. I have tricycle drivers try to charge me 100 pesos leaving the Ceres terminal to come to La Casa. You have to be careful leaving. Yeah, of course, of course. They're gonna try. That's a common thing anywhere you go in the Philippines. Tricycle drivers, they're gonna, because it's a private ride when you're leaving, like the bus station. That's where you kind of negotiate. To me, man, even in Boracay, when I'm in Boracay, JP, I know the prices, and I just get on, and then if they charge me more, I just give it, JP, because to me, I don't worry about like $1. To me, especially when I'm on vacation in Boracay, I know the prices in Boracay. If I do a private ride and they charge me an extra 50 pesos, to me, I always just look at it as like, hey, here you go, man. It's like, I know the guy's trying to support a family. He's not going to get rich over 50 pesos. I'm not the argumentative type. I don't argue especially for for a small amount of money. I don't feel like I'm getting scammed. I don't look at it. I guess I have a different mentality with Filipinos as far as I know Americans, they're so stickler about that. Oh, I got charged 40 pesos instead of 20, and they get mad. I don't, man. You can charge me 60, I'll just give you the money. Because I know Filipinos got a hard life, man. I know, if that little money I give him extra is going to help his family, I'm all for it, man. I always tip. I always actually tip. You can ask Dazzle. It's like, I always tip. The guys that I know that don't make a lot of money here, tricycle drivers, they don't make a lot of money here. A lot of times the tricycle drivers here, they don't even own their tricycle. They have a boundary. The owner of the tricycle, in order for that tricycle driver, he's got to pay the owner each day 300 pesos, even before he can make any money. And then he put the gas on the tricycle. So to me, I don't sweat the small stuff, man. My husband's truck is dead right now. Just waiting for him to come home. Haha. I don't have friends. See, that's the thing, Pinay Heart. Here in the Philippines, if I'm driving my car, if James and Karen is out in the middle of nowhere on a motorbike and something breaks, people will rally. There'll be people will like carry his motorbike, or people will push my car. There's gonna be a group of people willing to help you. They're gonna go, oh, your battery's dead, you need a jump. They'll bring in a battery. They'll somebody be carrying the battery. Well, hook it up to your car, and then they will take care of you here. No triple A needed. No triple A needed here in the province. Filipinos are really helpful. I walk a lot here, and sometimes I get tired. I'll try asking them if they can carry me back to my place. And then most airports in the world have opportunistic taxi driver. Yeah, to me that's almost understandable, right? Most airports in the world, same thing, like, right? Manila, of course, it's like they're hustling. I'm not gonna get mad at somebody trying to hustle. It's like, I know life here in the Philippines is so hard, man. Sometimes, they're trying to feed 4 or 5 kids at home, man. I'm like, it's not gonna hurt my feelings if they charge me extra, because like I said, when I'm in Boracay, I know exactly the prices in Boracay. I've been around Boracay for over 15 years now. It's like, you're not gonna be like, that's why I don't even ask. I just hop on stuff, and when I'm get off, and then the guy says 100 pesos, 50 pesos, I just hand it to them, man. It's like, doesn't hurt my feelings. Haggling part of the adventure. I don't haggle, Bon. I don't haggle. It's like, even Dazzles will learn it for me, because to me, it's like, I do prefer, like, on the fruit stands, at the market, when they display the price, I just pay the price. But I'm not into haggling, man. It's like, I'm ready for Boracay soon. All right, Emilio, got Merle in there, man. Merle will sponsor you in Boracay. You already got a buddy in Merle when you get there. Uh, all right. Another message from a friend of mine. One thing he noticed here when he got here is the people that work here, like hotel workers, you name it, the common wage here in the province, Aklan province, is about 500 pesos a day. That's a good wage already. If you're making 500 pesos a day here, $9 a day, pretty good wage already. And a lot of times, when you work at the hotel or you work in an office scenario or you're a salesperson, that's about how much they pay you, about $9 a day, about 500 pesos a day. And a lot of times, they require you to have some college even. Some of them even a degree, some of them even a college degree to get those, like in a hotel. Like if you're going to work the front desk of a hotel where customers, chances are they're going to want you to have like a 4-year tourism degree or a 4-year hospitality, hotel restaurant management degree, something like that. And you're making 500, you're making $9 a day. The vendors that you see, the taho vendor, like let's say like the taho is like the silken tofu in Boracay, right? They had this big bamboo thing. They're carrying 2 large pails of the stuff that they're selling, or the dirty ice cream guy, right? Out there in the sun, toiling in the sun. Those guys actually make more money than those guys in the hotel because, if you sell like your whole taho in Boracay or all your ice cream in Boracay, you're making 4 or 5 times the money that people in the hotels are making. So a lot of times, you don't realize that. Sometimes one of Dazzle's younger brother, Miko, it's like he works at the hotel at the Mandarin 5-star hotel in Boracay. I told him, man, he's got a girlfriend, everything. I told him, man, you got to hustle in the Philippines, brother. You can't just like, you got a 9-to-5 job in the hotel, man. That's not going to be enough, especially if you want a girlfriend, family one day. I keep telling you, man, you got to hustle, bro. You live in the Philippines, and start selling that taho in early in the morning and make that 2,000 pesos, extra 2,000 pesos a day, man. Yeah, see, Merle understands. Merle understands me with my comment. They're just trying to make money for their families. And I know that. Because when I lived in Boracay, I had friends, locals, and I understand. I understand the dynamic, that habal driver, that tricycle driver, e-trike in Boracay, that the whole vendor, he's got a wife, he's got 3-4 kids that he's trying to support. So I'm not going to be upset if I pay him a little extra. Emilio, come now. Yeah, life is short, right there. You got, Merle's came from San Diego, man. You came from the same area, man. Emilio's in San Diego. See, Merle's telling you, Emilio, come now. Go to Boracay, brother. There. I saw blogger Robert Sands show he got scammed on Grab for 400 peso. He complained to Grab. Yeah, if it's a Grab app, right, you have every right to, if he got scammed using Grab. That's a sad. Have a degree making that without benefits. Yeah, minimum. All right, Pinay. Kuya Bon, some Filipino teachers have worked overseas. Yeah, exactly, right? A lot of your overseas Filipino workers are like college educated here in the Philippines, but it's the same dynamic here in the Philippines. There's a lot of educated people here. What I tell people, got a comment from one guy on my comment, and he was like, he said it's the useless college degrees in the Philippines was his comment, but there's different degrees. Same in the United States. That's why sometimes it's like people they really need to think before some of the comments that they make, because it's the same in America, same in the Philippines. Your college degrees anywhere you live in the world, it's gonna depend on the school you attended. You cannot compare. If you say you graduate from UP Diliman, like Fortune, UP Diliman is the Harvard of the Philippines. You cannot compare that degree to STI College Calibo, where I graduated here in Calibo. I mean, and expect, it's like, why are the graduates here in the province not making any money? Why are the graduates here in the province, after the graduation, they work in Boracay for $9 a day? Because the colleges here can't compete with the colleges in Manila. The tuition, colleges in Manila can range upwards close to even $1,000, $2,000 a semester in Manila. The semester here in the province is like $100. So you cannot compare the degrees. Same thing in the United States. If you're going to Harvard, you better get some money. You better get some money going to that school. Your city college degree in the United States is not going to compete with the Cal State Berkeley. It's the same dynamic. To me, that comment, when I saw that comment, I kind of shook my head, because like sometimes people, they judge the Philippines. They come here to the province in the Philippines and start judging the poor people here, the poor quality education. They don't understand the dynamic. It's like they live here in the Philippines 1 year and they're like the expert about the Philippines. Then I've been here living 15 years and I'm still learning about the Philippines. That's why I like hearing comments from people or my friends sharing their experience, because I'm still learning. It's like December, Merle. All right, Emilio said, we're waiting on you, Emilio. I do my daily good deeds here every day. I ride e-trike, see kids riding. Feels good to help. Yeah. And that's why you're fitting in, man. You're becoming one of the locals in Boracay, Merle, because you understand. You understand you don't judge people here in the Philippines because of the way they look, the way they live, the way, those are the ones that, unfortunately, we get those type of foreigners that move here, so judgmental about the Philippines. All I can say to those type of people, if you were born here in the Philippines, born in a poor environment here in the Philippines, good luck trying to get out of that situation here. I respect the hustle, honor the grind, right? Bon, to me the same, man. It's like, I had to hustle in my life. That's why I respect it. It's like I didn't get to this part of my life without the hustle in me. It's like I was born in the Philippines, man. I had to have hustle, right? I had to earn that United States Air Force military pension. It's like. All right. I like that. I like that comment there. Okay. Oh, this one, man! I got so many messages from my friends. It's really. I might run out of time here and not discuss all of them, because I'm past the 2 hour mark already. I'll do a last one. This one. This friend of mine came from San Diego. He's been now here 18 months. 18 months here in Calibo. He lives in Calibo. I think I've mentioned him before about how he he did his scout. He calls it scouting report. Scout, he had athletics background in the United States. He was a coach of athletics in the United States. So scouting background before his first trip. I remember his first trip to the Philippines also because I've been communicating with him for a while now. And his scouting report, the way he handled the scouting report here in the Philippines, he contacted vloggers here in the Philippines, including me. He had here in Calibo. He contacted a vlogger in Davao because he was considering Davao. He contacted a vlogger in Dumaguete City and a vlogger in Angeles City. Those were the four areas that he was considering. And he really gravitated to me because he just told me I was just so helpful. It's like I was answering. He would text me. I would always reply, because I'm just like that. If you send me a text, if you send me a message, I answer every single one as quickly as I can because I know how important that is to people. So that's what he did. He did his scouting report. His recon is what I call it here in the Philippines. First, he went on a 2-month recon in the Philippines, and he visited every single place. He stayed stayed in Angeles City. He stayed in Dumaguete City. Stayed in Davao City. Contacted the vloggers. Had dinner with the vloggers. Same thing when he got to Calibo. I met him for the first time. We had good vibes immediately, and then I showed him what kind of housing on his budget because he's basically living off his Social Security. So I was like telling him what's available here in Calibo, and he's happy as can be in Calibo, man. This is his home base here in the Philippines. From the day he moved in Calibo, his furnished studio apartment, 8,000 pesos. Right now, I think that's like $125, $125 rent a month. It's like, that's not even a hotel for one night sometimes in the U.S., right? From the day he arrived in Calibo until now, his rent is like 8,000 pesos, about $125 here. So he's loving it here. He's just loving, he's got friends here, the Panay Posse, we're the posse here. He met locals here. He goes to Dunkin' Donuts, talks to the OGs here in Calibo. He's got Filipino friends. He's built a life here. He even has a motorbike now. For the longest time, he resisted not owning a motorbike. After a year, he got himself a motorbike. That way he can. So he was here a year without any transportation, just tricycles in Calibo. All right, I think I'm gonna end there. I still have some. I might have to talk about it some other time because I'm way past my limit here. Boy, you didn't judge him, Gino. That's why he stayed. I live a simple life in Boracay. Emilio, you have to live province or barrio. All right. I'm gonna end the live stream right there. It's like I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. It's been a long one. I apologize. I forgot about my time. I usually try to limit it 2 hours, but thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone's time. I appreciate the time. Thank you again. Thank you, Brother Gino. All right, Merle. Good having you in the live stream. Take care, everyone, and everyone stay blessed. Stay blessed.